5, 4, 3.
And it's game time. Kinda X5 here with Facial one more time. We're going to start for realsies. This is going to be map 2 of our MLUT Week 3 match between Team Big and 7th Degree Murder. And it looks like I was getting the flag bug there for a second, but here we see HV grabbing this flag. Here we go. He's going to get out to mid. We just saw Pistola, which was 7th Degree's map pick. We saw them win it. It was a close match until the very end. Once again, we've said both of these teams have very similar strengths and weaknesses, and here we see them playing another map that's not all that dissimilar to the last map we played, isn't it?
And the fight over the amp actually has both people killing each other, and Dre's actually able to pick up that amp.
And Dre playing a defensive role again, not surprising. That's kind of what we expected. And from what I'm seeing on Blimpo, he's doing the same thing he did last map, which is he's not playing that mid role very heavily. He's doing a lot of aggressive pushing, but it'll be interesting to see if he goes back and forth again. Here, Dre doing a good job. He has that amp. He's pushed all the way up in mid to help his team try to push through as Blue had dropped back. So heads up play by Dre, noticing that Blue had dropped their offense back, and he went ahead and pushed up. Didn't make a difference, but it's a good tactical move right there.
Yep, and as we did call earlier, Vengeance is definitely playing a defensive role. He's actually going to play on the stick, and Dre's going to play off the stick. So,
yeah, not shocking for Blue 7th Degree. They've got Terra, Corky, and Blimpo on offense. I think that's their pretty obvious move there, as DC being their most dedicated defender, I think, and no aim, no moves. Did a good job last game, so definitely going to see him sticking around on defense this game. Blimpo this time with the flag in his hands. Kind of curious because, Blimpo being such a good fragger and such a good defense, or mid player, I should say, it's often, some people often see it as a liability to put the flag in the hands of your best fragger because it makes him such a target, and it often makes them have to pull out a shield gun instead of whatever weapon they prefer.
Second amp taken actually this time for red team, so this time Bob has the amp, and he's going to take that one offense with him.
Yep, got him right now. You see him harassing the defense, but DC does a really good job of target prioritization there. They actually take out the flag runner first as Bob's taking amp shots at them, and then they turn their sights on Bob and take him out instantly. So, good, smart play by the defense there for Blue, not getting distracted by that amp and letting them just grab that flag.
And Terror actually takes the 100 shield directly in front of Bob, but I believe that a couple rockets right to the face were able to negate that power-up.
Corky pushing out to mid. He already sees his cover go down. He gets the cutoff, and that's going back. Might be a good time to watch some defense here as we see DC grabbing his 50 armor. This is an interesting map to play D on, in that if you get into 2-on-2 situations, due to the number of bottlenecks, you can often win those. So it's not so hard to play defense against 2 offense on this map, but once you get that third attacker in, it becomes very easy to overwhelm the defense.
Yeah, we are seeing the fast-paced offense, which we kind of expected from both teams so far. So, like we were talking about earlier, it's going to take a standoff and getting power-ups lost in the mix. That'll probably bring this to a slower pace.
Here we see Corky pushing it across. Red kind of lost track of him for a second there. Flag gets dropped, goes up the lift, but a nice telefrag by HV to get that return. That flag landing on that lift is a little bit scary because you can be right in position for a return, and then if it goes up, suddenly you're way out of position.
I think third amp of the game actually went to Blue this time. I'm not exactly sure what member took it, but it was actually up during that flag run right there.
That'll be Blimpo, and he's running around with 50 armor and amp, trying to take out some red defense here, as his team has that flag, and he's just going to cover him across mid. And Corky getting all the way back to his base. Blimpo in a killing spree covering here. They're going to get back in their own flag room with this flag. He only has 15 health, though. Probably going to look to drop this. Their flag is entering into red base, so there you go. We have an official standoff now. And I think this is going to be the first of many. If both teams keep playing this effective, committed offense, these flags are going to be getting across the map a lot.
Blue team's actually going to take a chance here, and they're going to send a lot more people on return. Hopefully, going to try to get this returned. Maybe see if we can get some power-ups in the process as these guys try to head over and maybe get a return.
I'm curious to know what the thought process is on that, but I'll tell you what, more often than not, it's because they know they have timing of a power-up, particularly if they have amp. They say, hey, amp's up in 10, we're going to grab it, go, full-on power, not power play in the traditional sense, but, a full-on heavy push weighted towards the return. Nothing happening yet, though, as Blue's doing a good job of moving around. They're not staying in one spot, but they're both staying near their flag. Well, I say that, now all of a sudden their flag carrier is kind of by himself, but they're doing a good job.
DC actually has amp on return right now, so things could get a little hairy inside that red base.
Yeah, red red flag carrier's cover's going down, but he hasn't died yet, so he's doing a good job of keeping his cover in between him and the enemy defenders. Bob doing a really good job of manipulating, sort of playing the punt returner role, kind of jumping behind his blockers and letting them take the brunt of the attack. Oh, no aim, no move. Sneaks up on him. He's got flak out. And once again, Bob able to escape. I mean, he actually hasn't taken very much damage. He's still at 85 health and 30 armor.
And DC's actually going to bring that 100 shield on return with him this time.
So let's go ahead and watch Blue Flag Room as Corky's in even better shape. He still has remnants of the 100 armor with 77 and 118. So really, both teams doing a really good job on these standoffs of keeping incoming attackers away from their flag carrier. Corky actually on a spree, but he gets a double kill. Wow, and so Corky able to cover himself with that double kill, down to 28 health. And there you see the difference. I mean, the 100 armor was the difference right there between getting that cap and not getting it.
Yeah, and the interesting thing there is the fact that when they had the flag standoff initially, Corky sent all of his cover on return. They were able to get some good damage on the flag runner, but in that same scenario, he was actually able to push up through mid and take the 100 shield while he had the flag. And
So-
Blimpo actually just took the amp.
So yeah, risky move there, but it really came out in their favor because that was a matter of seconds. I mean, Corky was down to 27 health. If he doesn't have that 100 armor, that flag gets returned, and I don't know what Red's positioning was in their own base, but very well could have capped that, and they
Blue
could
with
easily be
amp
in
and
the
100
lead.
shield in the base. Blimpo has amp. Terror actually has 100 shield.
Yeah, you see
So
Blimpo
Blue-
running with amp minigun offense cover. That's pretty scary to run up against.
Yeah, definitely. But
It
Blue
is out though, so Blue's going to be taking their time, pushing out to mid. A good patient run here. At the same time though, Terra's down to 4 health. HV's in mid. They get the pickup here. A good pickup by Bob. He's going to be running into his base. They're going to get this return most likely. He's in his shock. He can piss into his stand once he turns his corner. So he still has 30 health. Blue's all over him. They're going to get this grab. A good cover kill right there. So they still have 2 in their base. Someone needs to get this pickup. They get it, but blue team is still in their flag stand. So if red team can get this return, they jumps to the stand, gets killed on the stand right after he caps. Able to tie it up right at the 13-minute mark. So a nice job by Red cleaning that base up just long enough for them to get that cap.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that Xavier was taking a gigantic chance by dodging right back into the fray on the enemy flag carrier, but it worked out well for him. So who am I to judge at this point? We are going to see a battle over amp right now. 3 members of the red team, 1 member of the blue team. Blimpo actually able to steal it from all 3 members of the red team. He's taken down immediately, but it still negates the power up.
I was curious to see, based on the last map and based on what we've seen, if after going down 1-0, Team Big would sort of lose their composure a little bit. Clearly that hasn't happened, as they've been able to battle back and make some good controlled moves here to get back tied up. And right now it's still anybody's game, not even halfway point of this match. And keep in mind, since it's only 2 map matches, if you can win your home map, you're effectively doing what you need to do. I mean, you don't have to win both maps to earn yourself a spot in the playoffs. You can split maps most of your matches and just steal one here or there. You're going to be in good shape.
DC actually just took the 100 shield. That last flag run, HV actually had the flag. He tried to do what appeared to be the lift jump outside of the enemy base and was actually aided by an enemy shot combo that sent him all the way through mid past the amp. That was a rather crazy turn of events.
One thing I will say, this game, it seems like we're having Xavier and Bob both having the flag in their hands a lot more. And I don't know if that's by design or if it's just due to the nature of their sort of formation and positions this map. But I think that's putting a little bit more pressure on the blue defense to constantly keep an out for 3 people grabbing. Blimpo, though, getting back into his high and doing a nice wall dodge right there, able to completely leave the red behind him. He's going to be able to piss into his base. He's only got 29 health, though, so if they can get any shots on him, it'll stop him. They need to get a grab. They try to do the return timed. Wow, last-second return by Red. They had a whole slew of people finally catching up to that flag, and now we'll see if they can get themselves a rebound cap.
Yeah, Blimpo actually took the amp right now. The interesting situation on that last run is Blimpo was sitting at amp, waiting for it to come up. His flag runner came out of the base, and as he was crossing mid, he died, so Blimpo had to turn his priority to the flag, picks up the flag, gets it in his base. Amp had spawned during that process, and he was still able to die, make it back to mid, and pick that amp back up.
Xavier now with yet another pickup. He's doing a much better job of getting those pickups this game. We saw blue dominate that last map on Pistola. Red doing a good job this time. Unfortunately, a little lack of communication there. He jumps into his flag room, and the blue team is just waiting on him, 3 of them, so didn't know his base was dirty.
Yeah, he had a couple of vultures with rocket launchers primed at his 50 shield waiting for him to make that jump, so... Good CTF sends by the blue team. Sitting there waiting for the cutoff. Should see another fight over the
quick jump
here
out,
real quick.
trying to get away from the D, but looks like Red was in perfect position there. And Terror is all by his lonesome in the flag room. Not an easy spot to be on this map, as you're kind of exposed once you do grab that flag. We're going to see Goo laid down all over the amp. Since the Goo is in mid, that's one of the tactics you'll see sometimes. If you don't have enough weapons to really make a true fight, you'll throw Goo down on the flag, so that way it's basically a landmine, so whoever does take it will take some damage. HV able to steal that one away from the blue team, I believe.
Yeah, he was able to take that. He was taken down pretty much immediately, but it does negate that power up for the blue team again.
And you never know on a map like this, with cover being so important, one amp run can be basically an instant cap if someone does really, really well with it. So anytime you can negate an amp for the enemy team, that's huge.
And it is, kind of exactly what we were speaking to earlier. You've got your two well-known players taking care of that amp, Bob and Blimpo. Every time it comes up, they're both right there in the fray.
Yeah, and credit them. That's something that they're definitely good at as mid players, is not just I always talk about not having downtime. They're not idle in mid waiting for things to spawn. I see a nice combo coming out from DC. He's really on point with his combos tonight. Doesn't get the kill, but does a ton of damage and disrupts the flag run.
Oh, and Terror just making a poor decision. Instead of going with his cover, he actually elects to try to work his way towards his 50 and gets taken down.
Yeah.
As we were in the midst of a...
HV is at his 50 with his flag. He's within piston distance of his flag stand. However, it looks like his base is pretty dirty, so they're going to need to clean this out. Flag carrier goes out 50. Blue is all over him. He's going to need some cover kills. Bob able to get one man to kill. They get him down, and so they're set up for a standoff in red base. Blimpo comes in. They're going to need to take him out, though. Uh-oh. HV jumps away from his carrier, gets back on the sand, is able to cap a split second before Blimpo grabs that, and all of a sudden, Team Big sees their first lead of this entire match.
Nanum actually was able to take the amp just seconds ago.
And
he's going to bring that in on offense, it looks like.
Yeah, Blue here going for a rebound cap. They've got 3 people already in the base. They're going to grab and try to get out to mid. See Dre trying to get one of his patented shield gun kills. Doesn't get it. Nanum's pushed out to mid with that amp.
4 LG kills. 5 amp LG kills for Nanum on this run.
Well, I just switched to him, so he'll probably die now because that's the kiss of death. Ooh, we actually see Blue's offense drop back to try to cut off that flag carrier and get that return so they can jump into base. And as they did that, their flag carrier jumps away and gets killed, and the return comes in. You see everybody dying at 100 armor. Corky running this flag, sees 3 red in front of him, going to wait for some cover. Comes up behind him, he's still got a bunch staring at him in mid, so he's going to try to dodge around. Does a good job of using... Oh, he picks up the 100 armor mid-run. This is bad news for red. He's got 154, takes some rockets, still very much alive. Drops it on the stand, or excuse me, on the lift. Terry would have picked that one up. And the fight's going to be in red flag room now, as their flag is down on the ground, gets picked up again. Let's see Xavier run this out 50 armor. Blue's all over their base, though. They need to get onto their flag carrier and onto the enemy flag carrier. As their 50 armor is still up, their flag goes down and gets returned. They're going to be able to tie this one up.
Bob, during that run, was actually waiting at amp, and I'm not sure if his defense called it or if he was just ignoring it, waiting for that amp. But he didn't actually leave amp until Corky had actually already made it to almost his rockets. And the amp is actually just taken now by blue team.
Yeah, it's a risky move. One of the interesting facets of maps like this where the amp is a little bit out of the way is you end up having to make decisions. Do you wait on it? Do you not? Do you try to time it? It really relies on communication. And especially when flags are in transition, the people who are at amp aren't necessarily the ones that have been timing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure Bob was just trying to get back, to at least fight for that amp to try to get power-up control, because that's been something that they've been losing this game on pretty hard.
Yeah, it definitely hurt them on Pistola. Like I mentioned before, I don't think it was simply the sheer number of powers, which was definitely in 7's favor, but it was also the effective use of them. However, one thing I will say in this map is the nets, the frag differential between the two is a little more even. And I think that speaks a little bit to the fact that that those amp runs haven't been going crazy. I don't think, other than we had no aim, no moves with a good one there, and we've seen I think Blimpo with 1 or 2, but we haven't seen the sheer number of long amp runs that Blimpo was grabbing like he did on Pistola.
Yeah, definitely.
See a big team deathmatch scrum in mid. Flag goes back. I'm not sure what the power-up timings are, but it looks like we got a fight over amp here.
Oh, and they actually kill each other again. Leaving 2 blue on the flag. Oh, Corky
able with the last-second kill off of that. He's going to grab it. However, Corky's not really not really the kind of fragging sort of offensive attacker that you typically want. He's going to be mostly grabbing the flag more and doing close range cover. So he's going to drop back and maybe even help get in front of the flag carrier here.
He probably won't get maximum value out of that amp, but he might draw some attention and be able to get a flag out in the process. So
he actually kills himself with his own amped rockets. I told you, it's the kiss of death. Blimpo, though, with a nice move, he actually...
What a goose shot.
Wow, he actually hesitates before going out to mid to try to catch the defense out of position. Instead takes a facial. Terror untouched.
Pickup, though.
Yeah, untouched into his shock. He can fist into his stand and go ahead here. This is the jump. Blue flag gets cleared out, though, and he's able to bring blue back ahead with just over 4 minutes left. Not time to panic yet for red, but I think they... given that they lost that first map, they really need to win this one. I wouldn't be surprised to see them push a defender out to mid. They really need to focus on locking down that mid area and getting those flags back across.
Fight over ramp, and it looks like red actually has the numbers right now, at least, to take this.
They have Bob and Xavier both on it. I don't know if they know the exact timing of it, though. 3 on it now, so they really, really are doing what they need to do, which is focus on these power-ups, because they can't let any more go. And they're going to get this one. However, Xavier only has 1 health, so they're going to give it up, and Blimpo tries to steal it. And then HV able to save it at the last second, but he's pretty low on health.
I can't believe it. Xavier just tried to leave that there for his teammate. I mean, in that situation, I think you just have to take that.
Yeah, meanwhile, their flag was out to mid. They turn around and get it under control. But they really need to be in there deathmatching the defense and making sure that they can keep the flag moving. I'm going to switch over to DC, as he's going to be under fire for the rest of this game as the flag D for blue. Seeing more NOS combos as he tries to take out his translocator. Actually gets killed in the process. So he's going to try to get this cut off. As you see, HV switching up. He's got 2 cover on him. 1 kill, double kill by DC. He's going to go down.
3 minutes left.
Oh, Nanim with a fantastic return right in between 2 members of the red team.
Yeah, we're going to check out this blue flag, as he's not really in a hurry to go anywhere, but he doesn't really need to be. We're at that point where with just under 3 minutes left, red team has enough time to wait for their cover and try to set something up. They need to really focus on getting quality out of the grabs. Meanwhile, though, blue team is already back in their base. Speaking of quality grabs, Corky can jump under the stand and put this map out of reach, and there it goes. And so with 2.5 minutes left, two cap game may very well do it there. Definitely not mathematically out of reach, but once again, that's the downside of having a frag-heavy offense and nobody who's necessarily a speed sort of cheesy flag runner.
Yeah, Vengeance actually transes all the way out to mid, takes the amp, and is going to hang out with it back on flag defense. And maybe that's the cue for the red team to push 4 on offense, rather.
Yeah, well, being down 2 with 2 minutes left, I think, is the cue to push 4 offense on any map. And a mid-air return. That one drops right onto Blimpo's head. So a bit of bad luck for red there. They're already ready to get this flag moving again, and that's a good move. And the thing is, on this map, given how easy it is to get the flag moving, is DC with another kill, and Terror already jumping back into their base. So kind of seeing what we saw in Pistola, which is once you push that extra offense, it's really, really hard to keep your flag under control. And barring a miraculous return there, you're going to see another go-ahead cap, and that's going to put it out of reach. So a minute and a half left. We're going to pour through some of these stats.
Really fantastic cover, actually, on those last 2 runs when the enemy was grabbing that flag. The cover was staying with the flag carrier, defense was on return. Really good communication and just CTF sense right there by the blue team.
Yeah, I have to say, 7th Degree playing a very, what would you say, like, experienced game today, or very experienced match tonight. None of their individual numbers are going to jump out. Even Blimpo, who often is one of those guys playing mid that gets a lot of net, playing more of an offensive role. None of the individual stats are going to jump out other than, a moderate power-up advantage. But just being in the right place at the right time. If we had a way to track pickups, I'm sure their team had quite a few more pickups than the red team. And they definitely won. I believe they won every single standoff, or they didn't lose any standoffs that I can recall in this entire match. And so it's little things like that don't necessarily show up yet on the stats that I think really put them ahead. And a lot of that just comes down to just, like I say, flat out experience. They have a lot of players that have played a lot of matches.
And blue team actually did again, out flag touch the red team. So
that'll do it. 6-2 in the second map, although it was closer than that until the last 4 or 5 minutes or so. Same thing we saw in Pistola. Although I have to say, I think Pistola was overall a closer game. We did see Red have a couple of really, really good opportunities that they just couldn't convert on both maps. And I don't know if it was necessarily a morale thing, but once you kind of get tipped, behind, and then time just runs out on you, there's not a whole lot you can do.
yeah, and we do see, in server, it goes 2-0 in favor of Fro's team. We'll see if there's, any kind of squabbling and arguing on internet forums later about rules and things like that. But as it stands right now, 2-0 victory for Fro's team, and in a well-played match.